Many Nigerians have called on security forces to immediately arrest an Islamic cleric who in a now viral video declared that Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, deserves to die for being a pastor. In the video, the cleric was heard saying the Muslim ticket, which brought President Bola Ahmed Tinubu into power, was a scam and that his wife was an infidel. He went further to refer to the Quran without providing any chapter or verse of the Quran to back his claim. Well, let's take some reactions. Well, this person wrote, "This man clearly needs to be put behind bars, preaching violence, preaching ignorance, preaching hate. There are a lot of topics he could preach upon, but will never educate and call people to stop engaging in illicit wickedness and white-collar misconduct. In a sane country, his utterances are equivalent to treasonable felony and not only fanaticism. The police and agencies responsible for citizens' safety should swiftly act on this type of crime for using people's ignorance to deploy mayhem. This is terror." Another Twitter user wrote, "A Muslim cleric was recorded calling for the killing of Remi Tinubu because she is a pastor and an infidel. Even though I do not support this government, this is a reach, and I expect the weight of the law to be visited on him. There is a reason why serious nations do not allow for this sort of inflammatory rhetoric woven into sermons. This must not be allowed to lie." I mean, this is the power of social media, really. This video was posted on Twitter yesterday or the day before, and it's gotten so many retweets, and we at Arise News are calling on the Nigerian government to look into this. I mean, when I read the transcription, the man there was saying that Remi Tinubu should be beheaded. Dr. Abati.
Well, it's unbelievable.
I can't believe it.
You see, people use religion to divide the country. Religion is one of those fault lines within the Nigerian arrangement. And that somebody will have the temerity, the audacity, the confidence to go on social media, to go public and ask that the wife of the president be killed. I mean, is the height of it. And I think that by now, the Department of State Services should have arrested this man for questioning.
Yes.
The police also should have arrested him because under the criminal code, he has committed offense. If you look at the criminal code, if you threaten to kill anybody under section 320 of the criminal code, you have committed a felony and you are liable to 7 years imprisonment. Under section 323, you also cannot make an attempt to kill anybody. It's not to talk of threatening that other people should go and kill somebody. Now again, Mrs. Remi Tinubu, everybody should realize this. He's a citizen with full rights under the Constitution of Nigeria. And those rights include the rights guaranteed under section 38 of the Constitution, which talks about freedom, thought, conscience, and religion. There's nothing that says that if your husband is a Muslim, you too should be a Muslim. Your husband can be a Muslim. In fact, you can be a traditionalist. It is your right under the Constitution. And as for his comment about Muslim ticket and all that, that's a political statement. We keep saying that the pulpit should not be used to make divisive, inflammatory, unacceptable remarks. And that's a duty. There is a body called NIREC. That's the Nigerian, the National Interreligious Council, which has leaders from every religion, and they meet regularly. The leaders of both religions are there. I think it's about time that NIREC establish a task force to deal with, clerics like this, whether Christian or Muslim, who make statements that will bring down the doctrine, on both sides, and to stretch the matter further. I'm surprised that this Islamic cleric doesn't even know the Quran.
And how he couldn't read.
He was saying that Allah says anybody who is an infidel should be killed. The Quran and the Hadith, if you look at both the Quran and the Hadith, there's nothing like that there. I have copies of the Quran. So I'm not even just quoting anybody. I have copies of the Quran myself. See, it says that Islam is a religion of peace.
Absolutely.
And Islam preaches unity. It preaches oneness.
Absolutely.
So how can somebody claim he's a cleric and is turning the Hadith and the Quran upside down? This is part of the problem we face with religious Chinatonism in this country.
Absolutely. Well said, Dr. Abati. I mean, you couldn't have said it any better. This needs to be investigated, and this man needs to be behind bars. But I mean, I know that we've all been talking about economic hardship in the nation. We'll take another story. The Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwolu, on Thursday announced several interventions targeted at vulnerable segments of the population within the state to mitigate the impact of the current economic hardship on its citizens. The governor made the announcement during a live media chat anchored by veteran media practitioners led by Dr. Ruben Abati. Some of the measures include a new work schedule that will allow some civil servants work part-time, a 25% slash of transport fares on state-owned public transportation, the distribution of food items targeting 300,000 households, as well as the introduction of a Sunday market in 42 communities across the state where staple food will be sold at reduced prices. The governor also announced a soup kitchen, where the state will identify caterers that will be able to feed approximately 1,500 citizens in every local government area per day.
We are now going to do what we call, the soup bowl, the soup kitchen. We did it also during COVID. We want to identify mama put, caterers that are in your loop, and we want to be able to feed between 1,000 and 1,500 in every local government per day. At the first instance for the next, 30 to 60 days. So let's watch out the logistics. We are identifying, the caterers already. Funds will be sent to them, and they will have vouchers so that people just walk in, and just give them something, to eat, one a day, and let's just continue, on that.
Well, kudos to the Lagos State Governor. He's always come to the Lagosians' rescue. You are lucky to have a governor like Babajide Sanwo-Olu. It's not the first time he's doing this. Like we said earlier, during COVID, there was also that soup kitchen. But he's engaging Mama Put. Yes. So these people will be empowered. Dr. Abati, you did an amazing job. I did watch, some of, the live chat that went on yesterday. He also talked about helping out the health sector, which is amazing, and also education. But there is hunger in the land, people. We have to know. I mean, kudos to some of the state governors that have, rolled out some of these palliatives. But let me tell you why they're still. We talked about also that bread story in Lagos State. We talked about where else was tubers of yam as well, also in Lagos State. But now in Niger State, a video captured the moment some hoodlums disrupted a protest by fish vendors who were protesting the rapid increase in fish prices. The hoodlums, after hijacking the protest, turned it into a hardship demonstration. They also blocked food trucks along the Abuja-Kaduna road. Before long, they hijacked the trucks and started to steal food items, and hungry citizens joined in.
Fight everywhere, palliative, 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 palliative. From Madara Ward. See, they run with the bag. Then they steal the bag, they don't steal them. See, palliative program. Auntie, you want? Take. Turn my own. See children for grant. See everybody. Now they fight up and down. They see you run with the bag. Get down.
We also saw the same incident in Katsina State. Meanwhile, in the wake of revelations made by Vice President Kashim Shettima that the federal government has uncovered 32 routes used to smuggle food to neighboring countries, and complaints about the porosity of Nigeria's borders, investigative journalist Fishayo Soyombo, in a 16-minute documentary, attempted to illegally import 100 bags of rice from the Republic of Benin into Nigeria. Soyombo showed how he succeeded without security resistance and how he worked with information from the Nigeria Customs Service, who betrayed patrol teams. The documentary also uncovered an alleged notorious smuggler, Ibrahim Dende, a hotel owner in Ogun State, who is also known as Ilaro's biggest smuggler, IBD Dende, as he is fondly called, is said to have numerous allies in politics and the media and has averted prosecution because of his proximity to power.
While rice smugglers who bribe custom officials get killed, the likes of Ibrahim Dende Egungbohun, the founder of IBD Hotel, is widely known as Ilaro's biggest smuggler, continues to expand his coast, helped by his proximity to power and the influence he has amassed with his filthy wealth, more commonly known as IBD Dende. His hotel, IBD International Hotels Ilaro, is well known to have been built with proceeds of smuggling. Dende has been arrested for smuggling multiple times, but on each occasion he emerged unscathed. So what did Dende smuggle?
Rufai, I'll start with you. I mean, that I start with the IDB Dende story to start with. You saw IBD Dende. Oh, you've heard the song.
That's the country we live in.
Absolutely.
IBD Dende has praised singers in the music industry. This song I just sang was an Olamide song. IBD Dende Afunima Wube was an Olamide song. So look at the kind of people we praise in our society. Look at what that report said about him. He has a right to respond.
Absolutely.
To it. And the customs also have a right to respond. What is going on as regards smuggling the Ilaro. But we have a big firewall ecosystem. And when we are hearing stories about people being connected to the highest level, you know, there was also a story about names being seen on those that went to COP.
Yes, saw that.
So when we have this going on, and we're talking about smuggling, it's not in connivance with authorities. And that's why the problem with Nigeria is trickle-down corruption across board. It's a fabulous job by Fisaya again. God continue to spare and keep him. But we've always known that there were multiple smuggling routes that these things come into the country. We live in a society where thieves and firewalls are celebrated. As regards what's happening in up north, it's a reflection of the poverty. I mean, you can see it. And that's why I want those governors to be able to put in a raft of measures to be able to help the people. Yeah. Just like we give commendation to Governor Sanwolu, but we also need to remind him how properly will those things be implemented. Because yes, they gave those things during COVID, but the implementation was poor. That's why people were throwing away the food when they got there. Is this what you're going to give us? The soup kitchen is an idea we've always constantly talked about.
Yeah, we've always talked about the soup kitchen.
But the question is, how are they going to run them effectively?
Were you in Lagos? Were you around when they were doing the soup kitchen during the COVID?
Yes, I was.
How was that?
It was, well, it had some controversies around that. And that's why he actually mentioned, Governor Sanwolu said they were not doing the soup kitchen idea. Okay. They were moving away to this, working with the Mama Puts.
But and in all fairness, the Mama Put something did work, because I saw some people that individually did the Mama Put thing, that you just go there, they pay a certain amount. What's this guy's name on social? Obi Franklin, there was what he did like that. So that could be a better approach. But also, how is it properly managed? Also, the food distribution, 25% off on the bus. I know Lagos, they will always deliver on that. They've constantly done that. Another part I want them to also look at is, and you know, we've been complaining here that they have no paddy to be able to run the butter mice mill. If your butter mice is up and running, you should be able to do 2.8 million, 50 kg bags of rice every year. But the problem has been paddy. So they are talking about possibility of importing and getting paddy in. That's good. Also, the free healthcare and other measures, that's good. But Governor Sanwolu should also do more for the people, because the people actually need more. at this point in time. And the Sunday market, yes, that's another good one, but it has to be properly run. I hear there's a cap on what you can buy, I think 25,000 threshold, so that people will not come and monopolize it. I'm excited about that. But we should also do more. Kudos to the other governors too. A fabulous job done by Dr. Abati yesterday.
Yes.
But also, the cleric story is a sad indication of how low our country has become. But I would also blame it largely on the politicians.
Yeah.
They are the ones that bring a lot of religion into politics because they want to use it and favor them. Let's not forget. And we condemn that. I condemn that cleric in society. I think the government should go after him. But let's not forget, we've had other clerics make more incendiary statements. They don't do anything to them. We have the Sheikh Gumis of this world. What was the need for getting 40 bishops to endorse candidate Tinubu then, or aspirant Tinubu then? The episode of the 40 bishops, just to be able to justify a Muslim tickets. They are the ones making mockery of religion, and they are the ones that are giving impetus to people like this to be able to say all sorts of incendiary things like this. So the politicians too should watch it.
Absolutely. That man needs to be picked up immediately.
Yes, immediately. I was going to just add to that as well, to say that beyond him being picked up, because Dr. Abati made a very good point.
Yes.
The thing is that people are impressionable, and a number of people would have heard this sermon or this his message and just taking it hook, line and sinker without doing their own personal research and believe what he says, and that's how people are radicalized. I believe that beyond the government action, and I think that's critical, religious leaders, Muslim leaders themselves should stand up and speak against it and say that this is not the religion that we practice, and this is not who we are. It is given a bad name to the religion, it is a bad reputation to Islam, and I believe that because I haven't heard a lot of them come out to condemn and say this is falsehood. Maybe I'm sure they've started saying that, but religious leaders, Muslim leaders ought to also come out to denounce that statement and say that is not who we are and that's not what we practice. Now, moving on to Lagos State. Yesterday, while watching that and just the announcements by the Lagos State governor, I couldn't have been prouder. When things are not done properly, we talk about it, we criticize, but when there's a well thought out, it seems like very well thought out plan addressing different areas, not just in terms of food and food scarcity, but also addressing issues around healthcare, transportation, some of the big needs of Lagos State. It means that we have, some form of research has gone into that, and he seemed quite open. First of all, I hope this will continue and it's to be held periodically. People had talked about it was reminiscent of the President Olusegun Obasanjo tenure, and then following that, President Yar'Adua did that for some time, whereby he would hold media talks and almost present himself to be held account and just to give an account as to what his plans for the people are.
Yes.
So in terms of the food with Mama Put, I love it because not only would it benefit the hungry, 1,500 people per day in different LGAs,
Amazing.
20 LGAs, 1,500, that's 30,000 people and 210,000 people a week being fed by Lagos State government. I hope it to be aggregated based on the number of the population of each local government, because they are different. In Alimosho, Oshodi, those areas, they have more people. And then also, can we have school feeding programs as well? So children and the elderly, most vulnerable, will be targeted. But I think it's fantastic. Kudos to the Lagos State government, and well done.